So listen, we're excited to be back. We've had now a chance for the rookies to go through the first phase of this training camp, and that's lifting and conditioning with a walkthrough. And then they were able to start today with their padded shirts and helmet practice, and that went well. Again, numbers are minimal for how many rookies we have. So, but we were able to get some work done with them, which is great. I mean, for not having the time that we had before, to have it now is perfect. So, and then the veterans are continuing to lift. They've got about 4 more days of that program and conditioning. So, and then they'll be back up and going through this same process with that the rookies are with the padded shirts, and we'll kind of mesh them together at that point, and everybody will work together. So the rookies went this morning separate from the veterans. So they had a little bit earlier practice than what the veterans did. Anyways, all's gone well. Damien Williams, I think we're all aware of that. We haven't met since then, but most of all, we wish his mother the best, and she has suffered right now, and for Damon to take the time to be with her, I think that kind of explains it right there. So we're all with him as he works through that, and I think that kind of catches us up transaction wise where we're at. So, anyways, with that, time's yours.
Let's go to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Andy, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Adam. Thank you.
Good. Andy, do you have any plans to quarantine Pat or Chad Henne or Matt Moore or any of your quarterbacks? And if so, what's that going to look like?
Yeah, so we're not in a position where you can quarantine guys. So that's not the way the camps are set up. And what's in the collective bargaining agreement. So, which I understand. Now that's where it becomes important that everybody takes care of themselves the best they can when they're away, and also in the building. But most of all, when they're away, they've been doing a great job, Adam, of wearing masks, doing the right things in meetings, and with that. On the practice field when needed. Again, that's not mandatory there, but certain guys wear them, certain guys don't. But I'm going to tell you, the guys have been so diligent about it, and they remind each other about it. Our players committee has been phenomenal with it. So reminding guys in their positions.
Let's go to Herbie. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, good morning, Coach. How are you doing?
All right, Herbie, good morning.
Hey, 2 questions here for you, Coach. With the opt-out deadline being pushed back to the end of the week, Thursday or Friday, according to numerous reports, how much do you anticipate other players electing to go that route as far as discussions you've had with them? And then the second question, Osemele, what is he giving you at the guard position or even along the offensive line, and how do you project using him?
Yeah, so as far as opting out, that's at the player's discretion. I mean, I don't know, and that's not because I don't communicate with the players. It's just that that's a personal thing for them. So I don't interfere with that. As far as Osemele goes, I sure like him, and we had him in the Pro Bowl one year, and I liked him there as a guy, and I'm glad he's with us. So it builds a depth for us and competition. And Herbie, as you know, that generates good offensive line player or any position play when you have that kind of competition. So Andy Heck works all those guys in, so he keeps a rotation going, and they're all kind of interchangeable there. The way Andy does it.
Let's go to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Andy. Good to see you this morning.
Hey, Nate. Yeah, likewise.
Because you guys won't have preseason games this year, I'm just wondering how much you had to sort of adjust your training camp schedule as you ramp up to the scheduled home opener. How much will that affect line play position, both on offensive, defensive end? And then secondly, because you get more men at the offensive line position, just how do you think Andy Heck is going to rotate those guys in when you know you're not going to have an opponent to sort of look at from film-wise to suggest who should be the starter for opening day?
Yeah, so we'll get a feel on that. And in particular, when we've brought in a couple of veteran players, and then obviously we got a couple of young players that we like to. But we'll be able to tell. The thing, you got to flash back to your college days, and that's kind of how this is going to be at the start, I think, when you look at it. So you're not going to have an opportunity for preseason games, but that's okay. That's everybody. I think the league's done a nice job, along with the union, on building up ramp-up days for the guys. Not only once we put the padded shirts and shells on, we go 2 and 2 on those. But also when we start in pads, they're actual ramp-up days, so it's a shorter period of time on the field. And then it gradually gets up to what the CBA rules are, which is 2.5 hours on the field. So I think that's a positive. We've got plenty of practices. That's one thing we do have in order to evaluate them for our guys to get into where they're comfortable playing shape. So I think it'll all work out well. I still think it's going to be a good product on the field for the fans, and it'll be good to get to that point. So down the road here.
Let's go to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Morning, Coach. Thanks for taking some time with us. I was curious. I know that the team is with Damien off the field. It does leave a big vacancy on the field just because this was someone you guys named the starter last year. And I just was curious, are you going in the direction of Clyde? Is it something you're still figuring it out? And then when it comes to Clyde, what if he is the guy, what makes you think he'll be ready for this type of task as a rookie?
Yeah, well, we're gonna get Clyde ready to play, and he's gonna get ready to play. But we're lucky that we have a pretty good nucleus of running backs there. So we're not in. Listen, it'd be great to have Damien, but on the other hand, I think if you have to pick a position where you've got some talent, that's a position that we can work with, and we're in a pretty good position. I think Brett and his guys did a great job with that, kind of stockpiling that position. But for your answer with Clyde, we're going to get him ready to play, and he's wired that way. The more you guys get to know him, and ladies, the more you get to know him, I think you understand his maturity and kind of how he's wired. Yeah.
Let's go to Sarin Petra. Go ahead, Sarin.
Coach, thank you for the time today. I'm curious, what's your reaction when you see what's going on with Major League Baseball, how they're really struggling? And are there ongoing conversations that you're having? I know how much you were a part of trying to get everything set up to be as safe as possible, but do you look at it? Are you talking about flying in, flying out day of games to minimize where you're going? And is there baseball seems to be now looking at shifting to a bubble for their postseason? What kind of bubble talk, if you could tell me as well, and why you did or didn't go, and whether or not that would be a possibility for the league?
Yeah, so I think baseball did a good job of they figured that something like this possibly could happen. So the way they set that up, I think they did a good job with it. Likewise, I think our league has. I mean, we're in a position where you don't want guys to get you don't want coaches to get this, but there's a chance that happens, and then you've got to adjust and you've got to move. As far as the bubble at the end for the playoffs, I can't answer that. I think, we just see how things are going, and the league will. I mean, I'm not going to do this, but the league will monitor that as we go. But I think baseball kind of built into theirs, anticipating something like this possibly could happen, and then be flexible with it.
Let's go to Sam Mellinger. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Andy, thanks for the time.
Yeah, Sam.
What I was wondering about is kind of along the same lines of what Sarin just asked you, but does that give you any hesitation, what you've seen in baseball, what you guys are trying to do, and what gives you confidence that what you guys are going to do is going to be more successful than what baseball is seeing right now?
Yeah, well, like I said, we've got things programmed in, a plan in case it does happen. I mean, the league has built that in. We tried to do the same thing with the roster, but this is, Rick said it initially. This is there's an unknown, right? We don't, you can't see this thing, and And so, and you don't know who it's going to affect, but we've all got to stay flexible with it. And as long as we do that, and I think as long as the coaches and the players do the best they can, to wash their hands and keep the mask on and social distance, and then do that same thing in building and out of building, I think, you can make this thing happen. So, and then we'll just see. We'll see how it goes. Just tell me you're not at like Yellowstone Park right now. Just tell me that. You look like you're on a nice ride right there.
Yeah, I wish. No, we are on our way back home. We're taking full advantage of the work from home policies here.
All right.
I'm not driving.
I see that.
All right, guys, let's go to Vahe. Vahe, go ahead.
Hey, Andy, good to see you.
Likewise, Vahe.
This might seem like ancient history to you now, but I wonder if after the Super Bowl, it can point to one particular sort of quiet moment of we did it that was when you just stopped and appreciated it. And related to that, I just wonder what the difference feels like between the burn you guys had after last season losing to the Patriots and what you come in with this feeling.
Yeah, well, I think in both cases, we have a team, and Brett, I mean, my hat goes off to Brett for the job that he did, but we have teammates that like each other, like being around each other. The coaches like being around the guys. So we've had that atmosphere here for a couple of years now. Not that we didn't before, but I mean, you're asking me about the 2 years. But so I haven't noticed a lot of difference there. I think Vahe, kind of having been through this, once you get there, you want to get back. And so that's well and good. But you got to go through the process. And I think they all know that. And they're working hard right now. And so what you do is you go off of those indicators and response. Are the coaches working hard? Are the players working hard? That's most important right now. And I see that. So that's got to continue now throughout. And heck, there are going to be some up and downs, right? I mean, that's how seasons are. It happens in games. It happens during the season. And you got to work through that and stay positive and work to get better every day and every week. So that's kind of where our emphasis is right now. And I haven't seen anything that has retracted me or my feelings on that they're not willing to work.
Let's go to Mick Schaefer. Go ahead, Mick. There you go, Mick. Mick, you got us? All right, we're going to come back to you, Mick. Let's go to Karen. Go ahead, Karen. All right.
Hi, Coach.
How you doing, Karen?
Great to see you, sir. Two questions. One, have you been able to talk to Coach Peterson after his COVID diagnosis? And the other thing is just when you do start preparing for contact, besides breathing on each other on the line, there's sweat, there's blood, what kinds of things are a step up in protection that we can expect to see once the season gets going and there's contact there?
Yeah, so I think what the league has said, it's a contact sport. And I would just, again, reference back to them. It's a contact sport. We're going to try to limit, I think you try to limit the amount that you have there, although you got to practice it. So, and then take as safe measures as you can with it. So Oakley's come out with some different things that the players will experiment with, and whether they like it or not, they can experiment with it and put it in that position. But, we're going to do the best we can with the situation. So.
All right, guys, we've got time for a few more here. We're going to go Harold, Matt Derrick, and then Matt McMullen. Go ahead, Harold.
Hey, Andy, hope you're doing well. I wanted to ask you, I saw the visuals of you guys wearing the face shields while you're out at practice. I wanted to know how that's going for you. Eric Bieniemy was too. We just see the images. It seems a little goofy at first to see, but how's that working out for you? And also, if there's anything that DeAndre Washington told you about Patrick Mahomes that you didn't know in your time that you spent with him.
Yeah, so I'll start with the first one. You know, if you're a beekeeper, you'd feel real comfortable. So with the mask on, it's one of those things. It is different. You have players and coaches really once you're on the field. There's no necessarily regulation on them. You'll see all the coaches with some kind of either a mask on or a shield, sometimes both. And so that's the way we're rolling, and as a staff. And then your other one was, I'm not sure. Finish the second part of that. Go ahead. The DeAndre. You kind
Yeah,
of.
anything DeAndre has told you about Patrick that you may not have known since they both spent time at Tech together?
No, they're no, neither. I haven't talked to either one about it. So yeah, either.
Let's go to Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach. Good morning.
Right.
Circling back to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, a week or so ago, he told us that picking up the playbook had been really easy for him. How much of that points to his high football IQ, and how much of that is, rookies not really getting a chance to get on the field in the offseason and really, see what the NFL is?
Yeah, so I think the virtual party took it serious and studied. And then he's a sharp kid. I mean, he's been blessed upstairs there. So he picks things up fairly easy. Now, we'll overload him here once the veterans get in. I mean, that's just how it goes. And we'll see how he does. I wouldn't expect anything different than what I've seen now. He's a proud kid that wants to make it right and is willing to work to do it. So he on and off the field, which is important.
Let's go to Matt McMullen for our final one.
Hey, Coach. It's obviously been a very unique offseason, obviously, with working with these guys virtually. But as a coach, you finally get to work with these guys in the building one-on-one. Just how excited are you as a coach to be able to finally do that?
Yeah, so it's great to have them back. I mean, I like the energy that they have. Like I said, they like being around each other, which is important. And they're willing to work. So they've been with Barry most of the time with the lifting and conditioning phase. But the times that we've had them in meetings and then for the walkthrough, they've been great. And then to have the rookies today actually be able to put a helmet on was kind of fun to watch. They moved around pretty good, even though the numbers we don't have a lot of bodies out there, but they sure worked well.